Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of the Art of Trying podcast. How are you going, Mum?
I'm good. It was very loud, but it's okay.
That's how I usually am, Mum.
Yeah, I know.
That's how I usually am.
And I'm always good, so...
Yeah, you are. You are. I can't go any quieter with my intro anymore because it's a thing now. I can't say it's branding, Mum.
We can't change it up, no.
No, we can't. Anyway.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm
Considering
good.
where we are?
Considering where we are, I'm good. Look, it could be a lot worse. As anybody who doesn't know, anybody who's outside of Melbourne, we have gone back into a short circuit breaker, sharp 5-day lockdown.
5-day lockdown.
Because of some absolute knobby in hotel quarantine who decided, let's bring a fucking, what was it, Mum?
A nebulizer.
Let's bring a nebulizer into the country when I'm COVID positive. And decided, because how does it work, Mum? It's a nebulizer. It's like if you like a humidifier, right?
Yeah, it's basically they use it as a mask, so it goes on your face to be able to inhale your medication, and it's put in with a steam or a mist, if you like. So hangs in the air.
So when a strain of the COVID-19, the UK strain,
that's what it is,
travels through the air and is incredibly more infectious and travels really fucking quickly. Let's just put that in the air. Yeah. Let's just put that in the air for all to.
Because all they said was they opened the door and it's like this mist goes, escape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then a worker got infected, and then somebody decided, who was COVID positive, by the way, somebody decided, I'm going to spend 8 hours sat in a Melbourne airport cafe. Number one,
that would have been fun.
Who sits in a cafe for 8 hours? Number two, who does it when you're COVID-19 infectious?
Yeah, so here we are, 5 days of a...
5 days of... Look, it's very similar to what Perth and Brisbane went through. They had the UK variant as well. They managed to... And their 5-day lockdown worked. They managed to get it under control. I don't know whether they've... I don't know if they've got any active cases there or anything like that.
I don't know, actually, at the moment.
They managed to stop it. They're now open fully. And so hopefully this can... But, you know...
But even though we say that it's 5 days, and yes, we did a lot longer before... but 5 days can be just as hard, and especially if you are by yourself or and just at home. Being stuck at home for 5 days is tough. So I would say to people, if you are feeling down, it's okay, but give people a call your family, call your friends. There's no shame in saying I'm not coping. So, and there's plenty of organisations out there. And we've spoken about those and put them on our socials before. Just call people and speak and just talk.
And don't be afraid to reach out to your friends in terms of
because,
checking if they're okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you might find, you ring your friend and go, hey, I'm really not doing very well. That they might just go, do you know what? Neither am I. Let's talk this through together and, support each other. So, and just call people, even if you think, I'm going to be okay for 5 days, as you say, call someone that, might be vulnerable, that you just go, hey, how are you going? Because sometimes that's all it takes is just someone just to think, actually they were thinking of me, and that's lovely, But so it's really important to talk.
We got
talk
this, Melbourne.
through.
We got this. 5 days, we can do it.
Yeah,
we can definitely do it. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, our interview.
Back onto the topic of the day.
Yes.
We sat down with a good friend of mine. Ainslie Rose. She's a
lovely girl.
She's an actor, comedian, and she's the co-host of the Pop Culture Clash podcast.
Well done.
Got it out that time, man. It doesn't roll off the tongue for me. I don't know.
I'm not even going to attempt.
What do they call it? Is it onomatopoeia? No,
onomatopoeia is when it sounds like something. It's not anything.
No, it is. It's like when it's like
a tongue twister.
No, when a bunch of words start with the same letter.
Oh, that's alliteration.
Alliteration, not onomatopoeia.
No, onomatopoeia is like pow, wow.
Oh, yes.
Bang. Sounds like the word.
Yes. Anyway, sat down with Ainslie, chatted lots of stuff. We covered quite a bit. We chatted about her podcast, podcasting.
She's really busy, isn't she, at the moment?
She's very busy, very, very busy. Her acting, her her comedianing.
Her comedianing. Interesting word. You got distracted, didn't you?
And we chatted about the MCU as well. I didn't even think that would come up, but it did. The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought you were going into football. I was like, we hadn't practiced that. What are you doing?
No.
Oh, yes, Marvel. Yes.
Yeah. So we chatted about that. Do you know what, Mum? Let's just jump in.
Let's go.
Let's jump in. Hope you guys enjoy.
Enjoy.
Ainsley, our second guest of season 2. Ainsley, how are you?
Yes, I'm really good. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be chatting to you both.
Oh, excited to have you along.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you on board.
Yes, thank you.
Absolute pleasure. So, Ainsley, what we do with every guest is we just get them to give us who they are, their 1 minute bio first. That's what we do.
What do you call it? The elevator pitch?
Yeah, I called it the elevator pitch. So we'll get you to do that. It's just so that we don't have to talk for a minute. Essentially.
Hand it over to me.
Yeah.
You know, that
exactly.
The elevator pitch is probably, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's probably the most terrifying thing for me to just be like, oh my God, who am I? What am I? What do I do with my life? But anyway, I'll get straight into it. So
I cannot agree with you more on that one.
Yeah. I'm an actor from Melbourne. Brad and I actually both studied at 16th Street. We are just different years apart and we've just met along the way. I call myself more an actor comedian now as I'm pursuing the comedy path. A soon-to-be personal trainer, and I new to the podcast world. I recently, well, it's been a year, almost a year process, but I have a podcast. So yeah, that's me at the moment.
You do.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful podcast. So oh God, my notes. Yeah. Yeah, it's a pop
culture, isn't it?
Pop culture clash.
It's called pop. Pop culture clash podcast. It's a bit of I can't say it properly. It just doesn't roll off my tongue because I'm.
I'll say it for you.
But anyway, thank you so much, Ainsley. So, tell us about the endeavors with the pop culture clash. Tell us about it. Tell us a little bit more. Well, what do you discuss? You and who's your co-host's name?
Zach. So Zach is also, we actually did full time at 16th Street together, and we've remained friends since. So it came about, I saw a meme on Facebook, and it was, what is like the ultimate Australian TV show from the early 2000s? And it was a list of like absolutely everything. And I loved the list, obviously. And I sort of brought it to Zach's attention. Like, I just wanted to do something with it, it was quite an inspiration. And originally, Brad, you and I spoke because I wanted to film it as a skit. Like, I wanted to make like a scene out of it.
Yeah.
But as COVID got worse and it was really unpredictable, and this was, I reckon before June, it must have been April that I spoke to you, and Zach and I were sort of starting to make things move. We had to sort of kind of call it and be like, this isn't going to work. We're not going to be able to film something ever. And lo and behold, we basically couldn't. We went into second lockdown. So Zach presented the idea. He's like, what if we turn this into podcast? And I sat on it for a while because as I've been pursuing stand-up comedy, I've kind of wanted to be like, I don't want to be one of those comedians, but podcast is the perfect one for me. So I had to sort of take the ego out and go, this is really going to work for me. So then we started pursuing it as a podcast, but it was months of planning, and all the shows in this meme, we actually condensed a lot, and then we've condensed much further as we've gotten to the end of it's all pre-recorded. So so that basically what we talk about is we've paired up, sometimes we've had 3 in one episode, Australian shows from the early 2000s. And they're in categories. So there's like comedy, kids, drama, reality. And we talk about which one we think has like thrived, survived, and died since then. That's basically it. I think that's the best way I can describe it.
It's a very cool concept for a podcast. I remember you telling me, saying you've decided to go the podcast route. And I remember just going to myself, I was like, yeah, of course. Why didn't I think to suggest that like that's like the perfect way to get this out there.
So it seems to fit really well.
Yeah. And Mum, do you know how many Australian TV shows there were? Like back in the
early 2000s?
Yeah.
Yes, and I wouldn't know any of them.
No.
Sorry, Ainsley, but I
was going to say, do either of you know many of the shows? Like, what's the?
I remember that. What do I remember? I remember Around the Twist. That was Australian, wasn't it? But probably not 2000s. Probably way before that.
I only with Round the Twist, I've never seen it. I just know that it's like an iconic Australian TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you would have watched it. You would have seen it because I wouldn't have had it on for my shits and giggles. It would have been for you guys.
Oh,
as kids, not me.
Okay,
so,
fair enough.
Yeah,
and I know Kath and Kim. I know all Aussie Adventures. That but that's it. I mean, I've heard of the Saddle Club, but I think that was where Chris Hemsworth got his first sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was one of his first couple of roles. Yeah, just a cameo in one episode. And our artistic director of 16th Street has a cameo in an episode as well.
Really?
Yeah. It's so Kim.
Did not know that.
It is so Kim. Like, you check it out on IMDb and then you find the episode. It's fabulous. That I will have to. I love like talking about it with you guys, because obviously you're not from Australia, so these shows are so like, you're probably like, what is this show? But even there are shows that Zach and I both hadn't seen or watched at all. So as much as we were revisiting shows, we were also watching shows for the first time. And it's really interesting to see how far we've come in filming and television and acting, but also as just a society, because a lot of them are very problematic. And there are a lot of problems.
I can imagine they wouldn't go so well now.
No,
but that's that's how it is, isn't it?
So the inspiration then, did that come from you? I think you harping back on your childhood, looking back and seeing life differently. And did you? So how is that how the podcast sort of came about, or?
I think for me, especially looking at that meme that was out on Facebook, it's all the shows I watched, and I watched a lot of television. Is that really surprising? I'm an actor, but it was shows I really loved, like, and because we watch TV so differently now, it's like, for instance, McLeod's Daughters is one of my favorites, and that was like 7:30 Wednesdays. I'd sit down with Mum and watch that show. But we don't do that anymore. Like, we just binge it in one hit. So it's almost like we're not just reflecting on the shows. It's like the time. It's that you had to hit record. You had to be back within the minute of ads, or you missed the start of the next bit. Like, it's so different. That's right. But then the 2000s is so fabulous and tragic at the same time. Like the fashion that came out of it, what was trendy. And it's just funny. Like, it's great. I love it. I would never go back to the 2000s, but it's one of those eras that both Zach and I say, we really hope it never resurfaces again. Like every other era has been coming back. Please, not the 2000s.
Not the 2000s.
I think most people agree with that. I think so. So is there like is there a specific goal for the podcast? Because I know, Mum and I, we have our goal of we want to get to 100 episodes. Like, we want to do that, no matter how long it takes. That's where we'd like. That's the overall.
It might take a while.
It's going to take a while. Is there like an overall goal for you guys?
I think I would definitely in the future like to do different topics, maybe still stick to the 2000s, but have a different series on one particular topic. But it was certainly something that came about, I guess, for both Zach and I being more comedic performers, and we talk a lot and we have a lot of opinions. It's worked out really well. And I think it's been just a little bit of a platform for me to be like, well, I'm a stand-up and I have a podcast, and that quite often is the case with a lot of stand-ups. So I know that if I'm out there, once I start getting out there, now that we're allowed to, doing stand up, and then people will look me up on Instagram, and then they'll be like, oh, she also has a podcast. So there's plenty of like me content. It's a bit me centric, but in a way that, like, as you know, Brad, we have to sell ourselves. So I hope
got
to
to get yourself out there.
Yeah. So I hope to keep it going, but it is a lot of work, as you two both know. To have a podcast is like having a business. It's a lot of work.
God.
So it's a big learning experience, but I love it.
I think for me, I just turn up, but it's a lot of work for Brad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just there each week.
Yeah.
Tell me what time, I'm there.
Frustrates
Sorry,
me,
Brad.
It frustrates me.
I should do more. I've done a bit for you this week.
It's fine. It's fine.
Socials.
Whatever.
Oh my God, I love being in the middle of this right now.
So I mean, okay, so talking about the podcast and how difficult it is to sort of upkeep it, as I know, how are you sort of how are you sort of currently balancing it all, like life, the podcast, your acting, your stand-up and stuff like that?
So poorly at the moment. which is just me being honest. Like, it has not been easy, and I partly think as well, being in lockdown for so long and then coming out right before Christmas was just a nightmare. Going straight back into work, for me, my work just shot through the roof, and then I'd kind of paused acting quite a lot. Like, my agent is submitting me for stuff, great, but I haven't worked on it heaps because the podcast has been such a priority, plus my study. So it's been really hard to manage. But as we're sort of easing into some normality again, I'm starting to find routine with it, especially as well, like, I have to plan it. Like, it's you can't just sort of rock up, and in a way, not to attack you, Lisa, but Zach and I were doing lots of research and what are we releasing on the Instagram page this week? It's been really hard to tackle, and I only feel like in the last week and a bit I've gotten the hang of it, or getting into some rhythm. But yeah, I just almost didn't realize how hard or how much work was involved until we released it. So as much as we were doing research, the releasing is actually a lot as well.
I cannot agree with you more there. Like, I didn't think it was I thought it was gonna be every week we get together, we chat about something, and that's it. Like,
well, me too. Isn't that what we do?
Yeah, that is what you do, Mum.
No, I appreciate there's a lot to do behind the scenes too. It's
I think that goes for all production or any sort of process. Like, stand-ups don't just get up and say whatever. They have planned it. Any little short film sketch that's come around, it's all planned. So, but we just look at the end product from an audience point of view. But there's so much to do.
We do, yeah.
Absolutely. And we just hope that people like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you know what? It sucks if they don't.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even though that's probably
really
the
hurts.
case. Just stabs you right.
The highs and the lows.
Yeah. So, okay. So, what would you? Here's another question. I don't think I have to. I don't think that's an interview thing, is it? That they just say, "Here's another question."
Here's another question.
I'm going to do
it's
it.
Supposed to just flow, Brad.
It's supposed to just flow.
Let's go.
So, what would you say is the most important thing? If you've got any sort of words of wisdom or some advice for any of our listeners, all 7 of them, what would you say is the most important thing to consider when pursuing a career in the arts? We'll make it specifically about acting or as a comic as well.
I think what I've learnt a lot more in the last 2 years when I've been away from the study and actually out in the world a bit more is that you have to be patient with it and not actually, I know you guys just spoke about this in your last episode, but like comparing yourself to other people, because you're not that person and you need to do what works for you. So as much as I mentioned before being hesitant about doing a podcast as a comedian, I thought this is going to work for me, and it is working, and I'm loving it. And it's the same when I started the stand-up. I was like, okay, this is working for me. This is what I need to focus on, and not look at other female actors who are doing other things, because that's not the goal I actually want. It's like we romanticize it a bit or glamorize what they're doing, but you've got to do what's good for you. And I say that in my personal training as well. Like, don't worry about what that other person in the class is doing. Do what you can do. Like, you can't, if you can't jump that high, that's fine. What else can you do? So I think that's what I have really discovered in the last couple of years is like, you have to do you and what works for you, and not worry about other people, because one, they're not worrying about you. You got to do you, babe. You know that saying that went around for ages? So
what a classic saying.
You do you, babe. But seriously, like, you do you, babe. But I'm sure you felt the same, Brad. Like, it is really hard in the acting industry, and Australia's industry is really small. So Zach and I mentioned this a lot in the podcast. It is a lot of recycled actors, and that does sort of hit you in an interesting way. And there are a lot of factors to why the industry is small, but it's kind of, I can't compare myself to like Marnie Kennedy, because Marnie Kennedy, who it was the lead in Mortified, one of the kids shows, she's been working since she was like 8. So, and I haven't been working since I was 8. So, got to get that ego out of my mind and think about, where am I in my life?
It's so difficult.
Yeah,
you can do it.
And it's
Brad.
interesting you should say that that's your ego, but that's absolutely it, isn't it? It is your ego that gets in the way of allowing you to go, okay, this is me, and I need to do my journey my way, and not, so you have got to put your ego on the back seat, even though in your industry, for both of you, ego is a huge factor. But you have got to allow that to go to one side and go, I'm just going to do whatever I've got to do to get where I want to be. It's a good point.
Yeah, it is. Some wonderful words of wisdom there.
Yeah,
thanks.
That would be good for our listeners, won't it?
It would.
We're not used to that.
It's definitely going on this socials. That.
Yes.
You do,
babe. Just gonna throw it in there, doll. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I had that mindset. Come on, Bradley. You can
Brad,
do this.
you can have that mindset. What are you talking about? You can have that mindset.
So long. Yeah.
Well, you're going to keep going, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes.
How often do you listen to a song that says it's better to be on the other side of the grass? Like, better to be above ground. But seriously, it's better to be above ground, isn't it?
Tis.
You're listening, Brad.
Yes, I'm listening. Why do I feel as though every single one of these episodes these days is people just yelling at Bradley, like, Brad, get your shit together. Like, I'm trying.
Yeah, because you keep going, my shit's not together. So get it together. You can do it.
Yeah.
We all have faith in you.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Okay. All right. Ainslie, to finish us off, what have you been watching recently? What have you been watching, listening to? Tell us.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I've basically only watched Australian shows for about a year now. So I'm so Australian now. However, I'm spoiling it a little bit here, but we're doing H2O, Just Add Water, the show about mermaids, is coming up in an episode.
Oh my God.
I knew you were going to be excited about that.
I know that one.
That was so big in England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
and now my granddaughter watches it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, when that show was big in Australia, I definitely was like teen, so not quite into it, but rewatching it now, like I rewatched all 3 seasons and I was just obsessed. So
naturally,
that's really on my mind at the moment. But I've also started watching WandaVision on Disney Plus about Wanda and Vision. Oh my god.
So
are you
good.
up to date?
I'm up to date. Mum, this is Marvel stuff, the stuff that you aren't really interested in.
Okay.
Lisa, you're not into it?
But yes, I am up to date. Oh, it's
do you know what? I don't mind. I watched Captain America the other night. Is that Marvel? No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. Watch that.
Is that the only one?
I don't.
There's quite a few in the whole.
The Winter Soldier I watched. I think I've watched pretty much all of them.
Personally, the Winter Soldier to me is like one of the best ones.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But I'm not I wouldn't call myself a fan, as in I don't see the links. You know, I don't put the links together.
It's because you haven't watched it enough.
Oh my
god.
You
need to watch them all like 9 times.
So
I have a quick story.
Is it WandaVision?
Yes.
Yeah, go.
Oh my god. It's I'm so obsessed. I just want to say, in lockdown last year, because I have been living at home, I got my mum to watch all 4 Avengers because she her primary school kill. She was very skeptical at the start. But I just did the 4 main and she's obsessed now and is like, okay, which character
it's so good.
do we watch now? But the links are confusing. So she's like,
they got so many.
Lisa, you should watch it. Oh my god. Brad, get her to do the 4 Avengers. Just the 4.
I think I have seen them.
You have, Mom.
Yeah.
No doubt you've seen them. No doubt you have seen them.
I've seen Chris Pratt with that little funny character thing. What's that? No, that's not it.
Oh,
no, that is it.
Groot.
So
is it? Yeah.
You are describing.
Yeah, that little tree thing.
Yeah, Groot
with a wobbly head. Yeah, I've seen that.
You could be talking about. Oh, you're probably talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh, yeah, that's what I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've probably seen the first one as well.
Well, I'd hope so. You watched the second.
Yeah. As I say, the links are too. I just watched them first.
Well, Mum, WandaVision
anyway
is because Disney have brought out their Disney Plus, which is their streaming service, and they're now releasing they're basically just chucking money anywhere because they've got too much of it, and they're making as many TV shows as they want.
Right. So is it called One Division or One Division?
So it's about 2 characters. One's called Wanda and one's called Vision, and they put them together.
Oh, okay.
It's WandaVision. So it sounds like WandaVision. It's actually very cool the way they've done it. But yeah, as you'll have to agree, it's going very well.
Superheroes, are they? Or
yeah. Yes.
Oh?
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
Yes.
I will check it out.
Well, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Ainslie, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
I feel like you need to watch the Avengers.
Yeah, we're going to watch it tonight. We're going to watch the Avengers tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved.
Oh no, it was absolutely. It was our pleasure.
It's been lovely.
Good luck.
Thank you again.
Good luck,
guys. It was really great. I'm really enjoying your podcast.
Oh well, thank you so much.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
Well, good luck with the Pop Culture Clash. Is it your final episode coming soon?
It's a bit of a way away. We're only about a quarter of the way through. There's actually quite a lot of episodes.
Oh, okay.
We've just finished everything, so now is just releasing. So there's quite a lot to come, and I definitely, any of your listeners, there's lots of different shows, so you don't necessarily have to listen in order. You can just pick ones that you know, but you might discover something you like as well.
There you go.
Oh, cool.
Wonderful. So yeah, guys, go and check out Pop Culture Clash. Yeah, they are fantastic. They chat about really cool stuff. I'm enjoying it. You'll enjoy it. Especially if you're a listener and you're Australian. You'll enjoy it. Go check it out. Ainslie, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We will, it was great.
Great. Thank you so much. Lovely to meet you, Lisa.
Oh, thanks, Ainslie.
Good to see you again, Brad.
And there you go. Interview done. How was that, Mum?
She was fabulous.
Thoroughly enjoyed that.
Thoroughly enjoyed listening to her.
Enjoyed that.
She had so much to say and spoke really well and just a mind of information. Just beautiful. Yeah. And funny girl.
And you know, I got a lot of motivation and inspiration from that chat.
Good.
Hope you guys did, because I did.
Yeah.
And if you guys didn't, well,
what were you watching?
I did. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed chatting with Ainslie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ainslie, for coming
Very
on.
nice.
Really enjoyed it. And you know, we're chatting about the MCU there, Mum, at the end. Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep, got it this time.
We actually sat down last night.
Yes, last night and flicked through. Yeah. They were all in order, which was you were amazed about because they came up all in the order.
Disney Plus do. It's fantastic.
And actually, I'd watched most of them.
Yeah. You had.
I was surprised.
And we sat down and we watched Captain America Civil War. Mum didn't like it, even though it's one of the best ones, whatever.
No, lost interest, beginning, middle and end. Just did not do it for me at all.
Well, I'm going to say you're wrong.
Well, okay. Do we disagree on something? That would be amazing.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not.
What I will say is apologies. Throughout that interview, we did it over Zoom. And there was a bit of a delay in... obviously us speaking to Ainslie a couple of times, and the video that we were meant to have a video on there, but unfortunately the video was a bit
wasn't up to your standard, was it?
It's not that. It was just a bit corrupted, so it would have
it wouldn't have made for good
for good watching. No. But that's okay. It's I don't know if in the edit I might be able to fix that delay, but
we'll see.
If there was a delay, I didn't fix it. If there isn't, I did. We'll see. But I hope you guys enjoyed either way. It
was good.
I enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay.
Good. Well, all I will say is please stay safe. And as we said, reach out. Talk to people.
Please do.
You know, because these are difficult times at the moment. We're not going to skirt around that at all. It is difficult. So
join us next week for episode 5.
Yes,
episode 5. I don't know whether I've got a guest confirmed. I know I definitely have a guest confirmed for episode 6. Whether I've got a guest for episode 5, that's still in the works, but I will let you guys know. Make sure you're following on the socials at the Art of Trying podcast to stay up to date with that. Okay, Mum, hit 300 followers, smashing it. My target for the year is 500, so smashing that.
Well, we need to reevaluate your targets.
No, I do not, because I want to smash it. Anyway.
That's not how it works.
No, it is how it works. You set your bar low, so when you smash it, you can go, look what I did. Amateur hour.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Well, I would. Anyway, join us next week. Guest or not, we'll be here.
We will.
Enjoy the 5 days.
Yes.
Try and enjoy it at least. We got this. We can get through it. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for joining us, Ainslie.
Yes, thank you, Ainslie.
It was fantastic. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We certainly did. We'll see you next week. Same time. Might not be the same time. It changes from week to week.
Same place. We'll be here.
We'll be here. See you next week. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.